The Love That Dare Not Speak Its Name. This essay was written by Mario V. Melendez on April 6, 2018. Here goes. On this day in 1895, celebrated writer Oscar Wilde was arrested. The charge, gross indecency. Translation, he's gay. Find in the description below a relevant video on his trial. A poet, essayist, playwright, dramatist, novelist, philosopher, lecturer, and an all-around Renaissance. Man extraordinaire, he was one of the greatest geniuses of his generation in Victorian England. He was also widely known for his fashion flamboyance, as well as his brilliant wit. Upon disembarking in New York on one of his lecture tours out of England and being asked by U.S. Customs if he has anything to declare, he replied, quote, "I have nothing to declare but my genius." Unquote. If humility wasn't one of Oscar Wilde's qualities, don't blame him. Blame God for showering him with an inordinate amount of talent and excellent intellectual pedigree on both parents' side. British Ivy League college education, top of his class all the way, and achieving. Fame and fortune on his sheer intellect alone and at a young age. One of his many plays the importance of being earnest, and his one and only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, are considered to be among the greatest literary masterpieces of all time, even as the latter was viciously attacked at the time as immoral by the Puritans of Victorian England. He gave it back to them with one of his many memorable quotes, like, "There's no such thing as a moral or an immoral book. Books are well written or badly written, that's all." Quote, unquote. Translation, art for art's sake. Indeed, art for art's sake is another one of his famous quotes and distills in 4 words the whole philosophy of aesthetics, an intellectual movement Oscar Wilde passionately championed in his writings and lectures. He believed, rightly or wrongly, that art must be appreciated on its own merits, not through extraneous considerations like morality or notions of right and wrong. Still, none of his many invaluable contributions to culture in general and literature, and philosophy in particular, mattered. He's gay, so he's an abomination, period. He was arrested, dragged to court, publicly humiliated, convicted, sentenced to 2 years' hard labour, and thrown into a primitive prison cell with hardened criminals. He barely survived it. He was released a broken man, shunned by family and friends, and he never really recovered from the brutality of prison life. He died 3 years later, sick, poor, despondent, and alone at age 45. Given to bouts of scandalous decadence and even hedonism in his heyday, Oscar Wilde never pretended to be a saint nor an angel, but all his life he always remained true to his art, and there's no telling what other heights he could have taken humanity with his God-given gift for. Writing, if only his narrow-minded moral betters left him alone in peace with his pen and paper. Instead, they took him aside, beat the stuffing out of him, chewed him, and spat him out a broken man. To say that Victorian England bullied one of its own just 'cause he's gay is an understatement. But what a difference 123 years make. Nothing. Those very same bullies are still with us today. They just switched places and became even bigger bullies. Where am I going with this? Here's where, indeed, the once bullied are now even bigger bullies themselves. In fact, I've written a series of posts with exactly that title, one about a gay pastor who maliciously framed up Whole Foods for homophobia, another about a gay couple who bullied a Christian baker into making them a wedding cake whether he likes it or not, and still another about a gay couple who publicly humiliated Ivanka Trump and her family while on a plane ride. There are so many of these reverse bullying by members of the gay community, I can't post about them all. In Canada last year, and perhaps soon in America, they've even managed to pass a law criminalizing the use of what for them are the wrong gender pronouns he and she. And of course, you've heard of the whole he and she bathroom thingy that supposedly discriminates against the LGBTQ. And oh, by the way, those letters have already grown to LGBTQQCPF2K+. So you better get that right or else. I wonder if they all deserve their own separate public bathroom. Where will all these absurdities and assaults on the rest of us, straights and gays, end? Remember that some of the supposedly homophobic cake bakers at that Whole Foods outlet are also gay. 'Cause of identity politics, as promoted by so-called social justice warriors, victimhood has somehow become an exalted status that so-called victims are loath to give up even long after the era of their victimhood is historically over. So they choose to live their lives as fake victims, 'cause in some perverse way, even that is better than not being a victim at all. The problem with all civil rights movements is that after they've won their battle and achieved their noble goals, they don't disband and go away, whether it be the blacks or the feminists or the gay community. Without exception, they overstay their welcome and become just a mere public nuisance. So blacks still cry out racism when it doesn't exist anymore. Feminists still complain about misogyny when it doesn't occur anymore, and gays still imagine bullies out to get them when those bullies aren't there anymore. Worse, blacks became racists themselves, feminists became misandrists, or anti-men themselves, and gays became even bigger bullies themselves. Society has come a long way since 1895. Today, very powerful and openly gay personalities are visible everywhere, and even free to marry whoever they want, from captains of billion-dollar tech giants like Tim Cook of Apple to VIPs in the corridors of political power like Senator Barney Frank, to big stars in entertainment like Elton John, to big shots of mass media like Anderson Cooper, to A-listers of pop culture like Ellen DeGeneres. There are too many of them to call out by name. And unlike Oscar Wilde's forbidden love for Lord Alfred Douglas in his day, today their kind of love is no longer the love that dare not speak its name. The complete quote is, "Have thy will, I am the love that dare not speak its name," unquote, as written by Lord Alfred Douglas. But certainly Douglas didn't intend "Have thy will" to be a license for homosexuals to run roughshod over everyone and everything just because. So the big question that I have asked before, and I'm asking again today as we remember Oscar Wilde, is this: when is one of today's powerful gay personalities ever going to be hit by a pang of conscience, stand up for the hapless victims of the gay bullies in their ranks, and declare, "Hell no you don't, not in my name"? When indeed, I'll wait, but I won't hold my breath. That's the end of the essay of Mario V. Melendez entitled The Love That Dare Not Speak Its Name, written on April 6th, 2018. It's just one of many long-form posts on his Facebook page dedicated mainly to conservatism, with a spattering of posts on other subjects, from history to the humanities and more in between.